What's going on, people? I am Swaver, and this is the Opinionated Facts Media Group podcast. I'm joined by my amazing team, Coco Love, Journey to Be Great, and Illuminated Lenses. Our mission on this podcast is to build better relationships within our community through using the power of conversation. And we're joined by a very special guest today that's going to be sharing his story about being married twice and also divorced twice. So this is going to be a very interesting conversation. So I want to welcome our guest, Day. What's going on, sir? How you doing?
Oh, I'm feeling great, man. How's it going? Appreciate y'all for having me.
No problem. It's going good over here. It's going real good over here. But yeah, I look, you know what? I don't even like to just hold our audience. I'm just going to go right into it if that's cool with you.
Okay. Yes, most definitely.
All right. So I just got to know, man, what made you decide that this young lady was the lady that you wanted to marry in the first place?
Well, it's kind of a fun story. We met on actually a dating site. Social media site from back in the day. I won't say the name of it, but it's one about them.
Oh, no, when you say back in the day, I mean, you don't have to tell us exactly what it was. When you say back in the day, like give us a year. Like
it was a 2004.
Oh, they were just okay. I'm just gonna.
Oh, is that Black Planet era?
Yeah, Black Planet.
I ain't trying to. They had just started.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but we met on there at the time. I was in the military, and she was in college, and I was just getting to Alabama, coming from Las Vegas. So we met, we conversated, and I was like, okay, she seemed like she got a good head on her shoulders, and we dated for 6 months when we first dated, and things kind of went sideways. But I was living in Montgomery, and she was actually in Huntsville.
Okay, so y'all was in a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you get into the relationship? Like from the time you met her on the app until what point did y'all get in a relationship?
We probably dated maybe a couple weeks after we met on the dating site.
Okay.
Yeah. After 6 months, we kind of I kind of broke it off with her. Some things happened, and it was just not cohesive to move forward. So I kind of broke it off with her. We stayed friends. About I say 3 years later, we end up getting back together.
Okay. And so you knew at this point that you wanted to marry?
Yeah. We actually married in 2007.
But that's interesting. I know a lot of times when people break up, they don't really come back after that or whatever. It's usually over. Right. So okay.
Yeah, I was still, at that point in my life, I was still trying to find myself. Being raised in the church, they tell you a whole lot of different things. So actually, when we got back together, I started attending the church that she was going to, and the pastor would allow me to do different messages. And we was pretty much shacking up. And in doing those messages, the people was loving it. You know how people put you on the pedestal and this, that. And so I began to look at myself and I'd be like, okay, Lord, I know that I'm not married to her. I know we're sleeping together, and I don't want to be a hindrance to your people. And so I was like, I care for her. I loved her. I wasn't in love with her, but I was like, yeah, you know what? I love her. Maybe falling in love part to come later.
Okay, so that's what led you to want to get married.
Right.
Like coming to terms with yourself and God. So feeling like you wasn't doing the right thing under God.
Right. Yeah. And it wasn't any pressure from anybody. Just being raised in the church, they tell you shouldn't be shacking up, shouldn't be having sex outside of
marriage. So they put you under peer pressure. Okay.
Right.
Hey, but you wasn't to stop though, huh? That thing was too good.
No, I couldn't stop.
Okay. I understand that, man. So when you broke the news to her, was she excited, or was it just like, okay, like what? How did she feel when you decided to get down and propose?
She was excited. Of course, I didn't tell her why I wanted to, but she was excited, and it actually, in the beginning, she wanted to wait for a while. She wanted to wait, I think, a year.
Okay, like wait on getting married or wait on
getting married.
Okay.
So, I wanna rewind for a second.
Okay.
So you said y'all broke up, you went your way, she went her way, then you got back together. So like when y'all got back together, like what had changed? What had made you feel like, okay, we can do this again?
Actually, during that time, I had just lost my brother the year before.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, appreciate it. And actually, the young lady I was dating, which is my oldest daughter's mother at the time, I got into a little situation with her and I ended up getting locked up. So after that, I began to look at life a little different.
Okay.
So it was like, saying when I needed her, she was there for me.
Okay. So, well, another thing too. Okay, when you did get back together, like how long were y'all like actually together before the proposal came?
I'm not certain, but it had to be probably less than 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you was moving on through that thing like you wasn't waiting.
Yeah.
I'm ready to make my moves. Okay.
No time.
Okay, so where are we now? Because I don't want to get confused. So we're back here again. You getting married for the first time, right?
Right.
Okay, so what caused the divorce for the first time?
Well, seeing how I got married for the wrong reasons anyway, it was never on the right path.
But just
And
hold up,
so,
hold up. I want to make sure that the community hears it. So when you say you got married for the wrong reasons,
Mhm.
what were your reasons? Like when you say these were the wrong reasons?
Because, like I said, I was doing the messages in church and we were shacking up. We wasn't married. We were sleeping together. So I was like, I wasn't in love with her, but I love her. I've known her for a while. Maybe it'll come.
Felt like it was the right thing, pretty much.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and even in that, the whole reason we broke up the first time was I'm really big on someone lying to me, and so that was one of the reasons we broke up the first time because it was like 3 different occasions, and it didn't stop even after we got married. It continued. So it was problems there that I chose to ignore and only wanted to marry for my own benefit. So it was kind of like it was doomed from the beginning.
I got you.
Was it you don't have to tell us what specifically it was, but I mean a lie's a lie, but was it like big lies or was it just the principle of why are you lying?
Kind of both. It was some small ones, some big ones. Because, and the whole reason that I held that close because my whole life up to that point is like different people lied to me. Like my biological father, the first couple of females I dated when I was younger. So it was like it became a big thing to me. And I told him when I first met her, I was like, look, I don't need lying to me is worse than cheating on me. So when it happened, it was like, okay, but man, wow.
Okay, so that's what ended the first time being married. Just I can't take the lie.
Well, it was a lot of stuff, man. Because even in with the lies, then I started stepping out, doing stuff I shouldn't have. So it was kind of just kind of a mixture of everything.
Okay,
That's interesting to me because again, like you were big on people lying to you, like that was almost pretty much like a deal breaker.
Right.
But then ultimately, you position yourself where you start to become a liar as well.
Right.
Okay.
So that was that like in response to that, or was it going on consecutively? Like you were finding out lies, but at the same time you were also stepping out, or was your stepping out a direct result of her? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was a direct result of it because at first, I was loyal. I was serious, And then when the line started, it was like, okay. When I first met her, I'm just a very upfront person. So when I told her at the beginning, I was like, look, I said, if you lie to me now, and if I catch you in a lie, I'm gonna do this X Y Z. I'm probably gonna start stepping out on you.
At least you kept it real.
And so that's what ended up happening.
Okay. So now we've gotten divorced. So take us from okay, now I'm done with you. I'm divorced for you. How do you come back to getting married again?
Okay, so once we got divorced, I actually moved back to Florida, and I was there for probably about 6 months. And I would call and talk to my son. He was probably a little over 1, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I would call and talk to him, and it was just the different vibe, man. Stuff she would say to him while I'm on the phone. Your dad don't want to talk to you no more. I'm like, man, come on, don't do me like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was the issues I was dealing with. Couldn't find a job, and so I started going back to church again. And you get to church, and nothing against pastors and all like that, but they can make you feel kind of bad. And so I began to start looking at myself like, man, did I do everything I could have done in that marriage?
Okay, so that sparked the interest of maybe I should go back.
Right.
So when did you go back? Like, how did you get back in?
I called her up, and it's just crazy because I had tore my Achilles. Right. So I ended up finding a job, which is the craziest thing to me, on one foot, on one leg.
Okay.
Dedication.
That's it. What's that? Dedication.
Yeah, it was an incident.
Niggas out here with teeth, you can't do that.
Right. Yeah, but it was an incident that happened back here in Alabama between her and her sister, and I was like, look, I need to go and reunite my family. And so I think I probably went through training, and I called him up. I was like, look, I ain't coming back. And packed all my stuff in my car and drove back to Alabama. And we talked about it. We dated for a while, and we ended up joining a whole different church. And actually, that pastor, the one that remarried us. I was still trying to find myself, and I was like, maybe I didn't do everything I should have done. I know I did a whole lot of wrong stuff. So maybe if I get in line, then maybe everything will fall in place.
Okay, so I get that. So now we're back together. We're gonna get this thing a second shot. Seems like you had a lot of spiritual things going on with yourself and just trying to figure out yourself. And then also, she probably was over to it too, because I'm sure she had to have wanted the family to be back together, even to accept it or whatever. So, okay, now we're married again. We're trying to work it out. So, what happened this time? Like, why can't we work it out?
Man, it seemed like everything got worse.
Like, okay, like once y'all got remarried again, how long did the honeymoon phase last before things started to get worse?
And it's the second time, right? Journey?
Right.
Yeah, the second time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Probably maybe a month before
After the actual marriage, that's when it started to go downhill.
Yeah, because you start seeing the same thing you've seen before.
And I'm sorry, but was it said already how long you guys were married the first time?
For 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, about 3 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you start seeing the same things, and it's like, man, here we go again, you know. And like I said, I was still immature, still, you know. And they say you always go back to what you used to, and so I started back doing the same things I was doing. You know, she was still doing the line, and who knows what else.
Hey, they ain't stop you with that one leg to get in that thing.
No.
No, put the leg to the side, baby. We getting in tonight.
Oh my God. And how old were y'all at this time? I guess for the second marriage. How old were you still like in your 20s?
I was in my early 30s, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in my early 30s. And I think she was in her late 20s.
Okay.
And also, because I know you said this before you remarried the second time, like you pretty much start thinking about you didn't do everything that you could have possibly done, and you were doing some soul searching, still trying to find yourself. Did you like even try to analyze her to see was she on that same path, or you just wanted to, this is what you were doing, and you thought maybe she would just fall in line as well?
At that time, I was looking at it like a lot of times the church preached that the man is the head. So when the head lined up and everything else fall in place. So by me going by that, it was like, okay, well, what is it I needed? Then maybe.
Okay.
But in actuality, it don't.
Okay. Because I mean, even for her, it's been a roller coaster ride for her too. And she's not here to talk about her side of the story.
Right.
But here we are again. She's getting divorced for the second time herself. How do you think she was feeling at the time? First of all, let me go back. Who initiated the first divorce? Was it you or her?
It was me.
Okay, so now we're here again. Who's initiating this divorce?
I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, for her, what do you think she's got going on in her mind? Like, she's got kids, you guys have kids together, and you've been through this before, you're going through it again. What do you think's in her mind?
To be honest, I'm really not sure, because through this whole process, through the whole marriage, it's like when one person grows and the other person stays the same, and it's like, man, are you ever gonna see the stuff that you do, And she used to come to me and ask me, well, what can I do to change? Well, I can't tell you what to change, because if I tell you, you're just gonna be doing it because I told you. So if you can't sit down and look at, okay, look, I need to be a better person. Go to God and say, hey, show me, because that's what I had to do. I had to go to God and ask, okay, Lord, show me. And they say, when you act, be careful what you ask, because when he started showing me, I was like, hold up, you can stop anytime. And I was like, man, I'm that bad. But it helped me. It really helped me to tap into a bit of my relationship with him and becoming a better person. Of course, we all still growing daily, but that began the process for me, began to look at things differently. And it just got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm not happy in this marriage. She's not happy in this. So it's really no point to still try to push it forward, because there's no progress.
So in conclusion, what are some things that you would tell people that if they came to you for advice as it pertains to divorce, marriage, meeting people, having kids, and everything that you've been through? What's the advice that you would give to someone?
When it comes to marriage, I do believe that marriage is a very beautiful thing. However, it takes the efforts of two people. And I think people have to realize that you have two imperfect people coming together trying to do something perfect. It's not going to happen. So you have to be open and you have to be willing to learn one another, to really sit down and have those deep conversations, those hard conversations. And before you even decide to be married, you first have to ask yourself, is this somebody that I can see me growing with? Can I overlook different things that happen? Can I not overlook it? And if the answer is yes, they say the phrase that love is blind. And I think there's many different definitions for that. But for me, that means simply, I love you. So I'm not going to focus on your faults. And because I love you and because I choose to love you, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, to love you through whatever it is. Now, of course, that doesn't mean somebody beating on you or mistreating you or nothing like that. But the simple things, the different everyday life problems we go through, you have to be willing to work it out. You can't just always be like, it's my way or the highway. It don't work like that. In the whole submissive thing, I believe that two people should submit to one another. It's not about the husband being this person that's, hey, I'm your husband, so you do what I say. No, because the husband is not always going to know everything. Sometimes it's going to be the wife that got the good idea. But you have to be willing enough to say, this is both of our marriage. We both have to come together and grow. We can't look at what Sally and John doing over there and try to do what they doing, because everybody's different. Everybody can give you opinions, but at the end of the day, this is your marriage. You two have to sit down and say what works and what doesn't work. Now, of course, there's a foundation, but you have to decide how you're going to build on that foundation. legacy.
Okay. Hey, that was deep. I like that. That's good. Yeah, I want to thank you so much for sharing that and sharing your story with us today. I think it gives a lot of insight on marriage and divorce and what we should look for as far as like, yes, I think I'm ready to do it, or maybe I'm not.
Well, with all that being said, are you willing to marry again? Like, is that something you still desire?
Oh, most definitely, because I believe that to be on a journey with somebody, I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Just have to make sure that it's the right person. So I'm definitely looking forward to one day being married again, but doing it right this time.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. All right, y'all. Well, y'all heard it first here. I want to thank our guest so much for coming and sharing his story with us today. I am joined by Journey to Be Great, Coco Love, Illuminated Lenses. I am Swaver. This is the Opinionated Facts Media Group podcast. And until next time, peace.